Hello, folks. Today we got an amazing speaker and a victorious mindset mentor. His journey taking him from being chronically ill for 30 years, having a medical prognosis like he shouldn't be able to walk, talk, and should be dead 6 times by now, as well as going through 3 failed kidney transplants, over 4,500 life saving treatments, several depressive episodes that led to suicide attempts, and 80% hearing loss that helped him to only hear what he really want to hear. So, with that being said, you guys want to stay tuned for this particular episode, get prepared to get inspired, and make real life and business transformation right here on this episode on the Transform You Live show.
Of course, we have, I, you know, there's a scripture or uh, a saying that say, whatever we think we become, or whatever he thinks he is or she is. And I think the cool thing is that when we um, have something in your mind, we start to our talks become our actions, and our action ultimately end up where we want to be, where we want to go, what we want to have, or who we want to be.
Okay. Hey, Nathaniel, there's a question that always comes to mind whenever I'm talking with someone as awesome as you, and it really allows for the audience to really get to know you more intimately. Is, what is your transformation journey? You know, how would you describe yourself to our audience in your own words?
Great question. Hey, firstly, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here today. Yeah, to your question, transformation is for me, or the way I would describe myself in that way is really about, being constantly growing and changing from where we are to where we want to go, who we want to be, or what we want to have. And it's been an incredible journey for me in general, for my life, a crazy journey that I will talk later about it a little bit more. So yeah, I'm just an ordinary guy who loves life, who loves to do the things that he loves, and I love to inspire people, to motivate, inspire people to grow and to build a victorious mindset. And I really love to be here today and share more about how I went through the journey of transformation and what I do today and how I do things. Yeah, so thank you so much again for having me here.
Most definitely. What exactly is the thing that you do? You mentioned to me earlier on, before we started this conversation, the power of imagination. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been, so I want to share with you quickly a story about my own life that I realized how powerful imagination can be. So I was 11 years old when I lost my own kidneys, and so not my own kidneys, sorry, that was when I was 1 year old. But when I was 11 years old, I lost my third kidney transplant. And so after that, my doctor told me I will never be able to travel and will never be able to have a kidney transplant again. That was back like 21 years old, 21 year ago. And so I was so disappointed because I had to decide to go traveling in the near future. Of course, I was still young, 11 years old. But so the point of it is I went home, locked myself into my bedroom room, and took out every picture that I knew about Australia because it was my desire to go there one day. And I took out all the pictures, put them on my bedroom wall, And every day I started to look at it and seeing myself there one day. And so about 9 years later, it really happened. So the way it happened was so special because what the power of imagination does, you imagine something and you basically attract what you want or who you want to be or what you want to have. And so for in my story, it ended like that a friend of mine, or actually two friends of mine, come up to me and ask me, hey, you want to come with us to Australia? So not a big deal if you are healthy or something, but imagine someone who has been chronically ill all of his life and never been traveling across, another country, and has never learned, to just step into something like that. So for me, it was a big deal, but not in a sense a big deal that it was big, but more in a sense that to see how it worked together, what I once was dreaming for and imagined. And for me, it has such a great aspect because even today I imagine things, and I can tell you everything that I imagine or dream for of is going to happen in about 5 to 10 years. Just coming into your life without you having to do, striving for the crazy hard work. No, it's not like, every day, I'm going to do that, striving, really striving. No, it's just thinking of it, imagine it, and then it will come to pass in a way that you didn't even expect. And that's what I love about the power of imagination. And everyone can do it, no matter whether you are have a top health or you're chronically ill or you have an issue or not an issue in your business, in your family or relationship. Everyone can do that because it's the power of imagination. Start with making the decision that my present and my past can have the potential to change. And that's what I love about.
That's really inspiring, and that really gives some people some hope. I think what we need most is something to really increase our hope. With the power of imagination, as I'm listening and I'm enjoying, you describing, how it has worked for you. Many people will wonder, can the power of imagination be done just one time with one thing, and just by taking a step and we just imagine it just one time and then that's it, and then it's going to come to pass, or do we have to constantly hold this thought long enough until it comes? How
Yeah.
does it exactly work?
Yeah, I think for me, it has a lot to do with being patient and, patient in a way that, of course, we have, I, you know, there's a scripture or a saying that say, whatever we think we become, or whatever he thinks he is or she is. And I think the cool thing is that when we have something in your mind, we start to, our talks become our actions.
Yeah,
And our action ultimately end up where we want to be, where we want to go, what we want to have, or who we want to be. And so when I tell you that the cool thing is that we don't have to we have to put in the hard work, of course, but not in a way that it does like oh, I have to do this, I have to do this and that and that. No, it's almost like it flows. You know, you got it in your head, and then it flows. And of course, that takes time. I always tell people, look, good things always take time. So, but if we keep going to, you know, to remind ourselves, the imagination, the picture, where we want to go, who we want to be, and what we want to have, we consistently stay on the track. And the reason we often give up on something, I think, is not because it's the hardness, but the hardness that's coming along, but it's the unexpectation of thinking like it's going to be very easy. Right. And so, if that makes sense, so like if we want something, we all get like, we certainly get, you know, oppositions. It might be from people, from circumstances and all that. But I think if we keep going, even if it's hard to imagine it and do our best that we can with what we have in our hand, then keep going, never give up, then anything can come to pass.
I like the part that you mentioned there, like anything can come to pass. I think we tend to limit ourselves when we think that, you know, it takes X, Y, and Z in order for something to come to pass, in order for something to be manifested. If we go back a couple of steps, go back early on in what you were just saying, you emphasized the importance of patience. I think a lot of people lack that.
We all do.
That's very hard to teach. It's very hard to teach patience. It's very hard to train patience. And as you said, you know, and I agree with you, you know, we all sometimes waver in our patience. What is the best way to stay successful on this track of looking at what we're striving towards? You know, you mentioned flow. You know, flow. Once you have flow, yes, things are like a go like butter, and then patience won't even matter at that point, because, like, you know, you see progress happen. But if you don't have no flow and it seems like, oh man, I'm never gonna get there, you know, how can we be more successful in staying patient and keeping our mind on what we're trying to achieve?
Great question. I think one word that comes to my mind is having the focus and not losing the focus.
Mm-hmm.
So in my personal life, when I get really impatient, I always have to go back to seeing where I want to go. Let's say back to the picture, looking at the picture, and tell myself, hey, it's gonna happen. Just keep moving, keep going. Patience is a special thing because we will never graduate from it, being fully patient. Some people have it more than others while they were born, but the cool thing is we all can learn it. And I think this year, for example, when we have circumstances, or had a lot of circumstances, I think it's a great opportunity to be patient. I think circumstances like that, when we have to wait or things are not going the way we want, that's the best lessons for us to lean into it and tell ourselves, hey, look, right now it's the way it is. I'm going to keep going the way I can, but I'm not going to get distracted by my, how do I say that, hyperventilation or impatient that I'm struggling right now, because having the mindset or developing the mindset to say, hey, it's going to pass if I keep going. And no matter how you keep going, oftentimes in difficult situations, doesn't matter how you keep going. It just matters whether you keep going or not. And so even, let's say, yeah, I think a good example would be when let's say somebody is wanting to lose weight and, you go to the fitness and do all your thing, but their season, you might not go to the fitness or you have no strength to do anything like that. So there's the point, it's better you go at least 5 minutes than maybe you go as you usually do 30 or minutes or 60 minutes.
Yeah.
So always come back to the, when it comes to patience, to lower your level a little bit of your expectation or your expectation in the progress that you're in, not necessarily expectation that you have of the dream, but the expectation of the progress you're in. And just go for, you do the little thing that you can do instead of doing nothing at all. I promise you there will be other times coming where you, in that metaphor, where you will be able to go back to your 30 minute, 1 hour minute of going into the fitness. Yeah, so that's something that I really could learn during my lifetime, to just minimize the expectation of a little bit, to keep going. It's better to minimize it than to completely throw it away and give up.
That's brilliant. I feel there's been a lot of people just during this year and looking back on how this year been that, had that I really wish I just could just give up attitude. But boy, if they would have heard you sooner, they probably would have finished very strong in this year and continued on with like some of the projects that they might have started early on before COVID hit. There was a lot of businesses that shut down due to COVID and didn't really take the chance to try to innovate new ideas. And just your message alone is very powerful, Daniel. And I think it's going to be very impactful going into next year. As we think about next year, and I think this is a real good way to kind of leave off. Uh, what what would you like to say to people that maybe you haven't really said to give them some more optimism, some more hope for 2021?
Great question. Yeah, look, I remember myself usually that every struggle will turn into stars, every pain will turn into even greater purpose. Every circumstance will turn into something way bigger than I could expect. And most important is that the difficulties shape us, and if we keep going, we are getting stronger out of it. It's like, it's like an athletic person who is really preparing for the Olympics. So he or she trains for 4 years in a row, crazy. And, at the end of the day, in a real life, it's not about who is on the first or second or third place. But I think it's for all of us important to realize that at the end of the day, when we keep going and think about that we are going stronger out of something than we went into it, that life will evolve and unfold in a way bigger sense than we ever could imagine. And I think that's the cool thing of the pain, of the struggles, or whatever we're facing, that it makes us better, it makes us stronger, it makes us wiser, it makes us, I would say, more handsome, more beautiful. It's everything will be better afterwards. And so hold on to that belief. That's what helped me most to even though right now I tell myself, look, I'm gonna get stronger out of 2021 than I went into 2020, but I don't know how, I don't know what, but I know it's gonna be way bigger than I can ever imagine. That's as well the power of imagination, that everybody has the opportunity to do that, to create that victorious mindset when we go through difficulties.
Amazing. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Nathaniel, for all that you're doing, all of the inspiration that you're spreading in the world, and you really have motivated me here today, and really allowed me to just have some deeper insight, uh, and expanded me to take another look at just the power of imagination in itself. Can you leave your contact details for the audience and tell them how they can get in touch with you if they want to check out all that you offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have two websites. One is the personal website that you can check out, which is nathanaelzurburegg.com, and the business website where you can get a hold of the things whenever I can help you. Go on that website, unlimityou.co. And so both of the websites, there's a free ebook which I call 4 Steps to Unlimit Your Life, which is more of a workbook than an ebook that helps you to turn your crazy times into some amazing times. And it's all about taking you to unlimit your life, to all the potential that's in you, to put it into reality. And get a hold of it. It's for free, unlimityou.co or nathanaelzurburegg.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nathaniel. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, and look forward to get in touch with you all.
Yeah, definitely love to have you back again.
Thanks.